Welcome ladies and gentlemen, my name's Dychronic, your host here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be talking about my top 10 picks for weapons you're going to want to chase this season. So I'm sure many of you have started this new season, see a bunch of new things, and are wondering what's worth it to keep and why is it worth it to keep it. Out of the 30 or so weapons they added this season, what should I be specifically keeping around, keeping an eye out for? And in this video, I'll be naming 10 of my favorites that are all applying to a bunch of different things. Especially with sunsetting coming right around the corner, a lot of weapons are going to be sunsetting literally at the end of this season, maxed out at 1060. Finding new replacements for those weapons is going to be very important. An example would be the Recluse. Recluse sunset at 1060, so we need to find ourselves a new replacement SMG for that role. The same goes for Outstringer, spare rations, a lot of things are being sunset, so finding good replacements is going to be very important, which is going to be a highlight of what's going on, as well as a bunch of picks for myself that I thought were just interesting weapons. And of course, since there are no exotic armors this season, or at least not yet, I will not be going through armors, it'll just be the exotic guns and legendaries. And obviously not every weapon is going to be on this list. This is just completely subjective based on my own opinion of what I like to see for the things that I play. So obviously there's going to be something I missed. Let me know in the comments down below what I missed and why is it that you like it. And of course, make sure you stay tuned for my top 10s coming soon. Obviously every season I do a new roundup of PvP, PvE, exotic armors, everything that's going on in the meta, so stick around for those spreadsheets, those docs, and all the beautiful videos that you'll see soon. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started with the first item. I'm going to start with the exotics. First of all, we have the Wither Horde, a new weapon. It's an exotic kinetic grenade launcher that you can actually find in the season pass at either level 35 in the free track or at level 1 in the premium track. Now, this is a weapon that a lot of people have had a lot of experience by this point, but if you have not heard of it, the Wither Horde is very special for a couple of different reasons. First of all, when you shoot the shot, it creates a circle around the ground that blights anybody that steps into it. Blighted targets take damage over time, and when they die, they drop one of those blighted circles on the ground. It also allows you to do extra damage to blighted targets for some reason, so if you just shoot one of the blights at the floor of a boss and then you shoot them direct impact, a lot of people have been having some great luck in being able to make that do more damage. Now, I don't think that this is intended, so use it while you still can. But otherwise, I'm not really a big fan of this weapon, but it's definitely interesting and new. Next up, the other exotic weapon for this season, we have the Traveler's Chosen, obviously based on the original model of the very first gun you get in the entire game, which I think I still have in my vault. Now, the description of its perks are a bit confusing to me because it says each final blow of this weapon grants a stack of Gathering Light, and then it says to consume stacks, granting melee, grenade, and class ability based on the number of stacks. So I don't exactly know how you consume stacks. I imagine it's time-based, and also on top of that, each stack also gives your weapons better reload, handling, and target acquisition. I'm not exactly sure if it just gives your weapons a bunch of stuff or it also gives you those abilities. It's very weird, but this can be used for quite a few different builds, and I'm excited to use it. For example, builds that use like Hallowfire Heart or Crown of Tempest, things that help you with your regeneration speed, getting that even farther. From like 5-second grenades, you can get it even faster, and I'm looking forward to using a weapon built around this that can be used in a lot of different builds. Right now, we don't know where this weapon is going to be. We do know that there are ornaments and catalysts, as you can see here, but outside of that, there's not much more we know. It's probably going to be an exotic quest somewhere throughout the season. Up next, we have the Forward Path Legendary Kinetic Auto Rifle. Now, this is going to be the Iron Banner Auto Rifle that we have not seen yet, based on the looks like origin story, but it is a 600 RPM auto rifle. Now, firstly, 600 RPM auto rifles are doing quite well in the Crucible right now. Like the Summoner, the Galliard are all doing very well, and this is going to be a new version. Now, sadly, it does not have high caliber rounds in its second column here, but it does have a new set of perks called Iron Gaze that give you much more aim assistance for range, or Iron Grip that give you much more stability for less reload speed, which will definitely be interesting. I'm not so sure it's going to be game breaking or even that great, but it's definitely interesting and new, and the other Iron Banner weapon they're bringing this season also has those kinds of perks as well. Up next, we have a legendary kinetic pulse rifle known as Cold Denial. Now, this is a high impact frame 340 rounds per minute pulse rifle, and generally I really don't like these pulse rifles, but there's a couple of really good things about it. First of all, they buff the high impact frame 340 pulse rifles, so they do a little bit more consistently, slightly more damage, so you need slightly slightly less headshots for the Crucible, on top of the fact that it has high caliber rounds and barrel perks, which is my much preferred thing to have in Crucible hands down, and it also has a new perk called Unrelenting that looks pretty strong, where rapidly defeating targets trigger health regeneration and guardians count as more than one kill, which means you're always going to be getting regeneration from those kills. And then lastly, it does have stuff like Feeding Frenzy or Zen Moment, lots of good stuff for the Crucible, definitely something I would personally be looking out for. And it's a kinetic weapon, which means you can use it with your Felwinter. Up next, we have the 7 Seraph CQC-12, a weapon that did come out last season, but they did bring it back this season because a lot of people liked it, and for very good reason. Firstly, I have seen a lot of people like this thing in Crucible. It's actually pretty good. Lightweights are coming up a little bit more in the meta as people get bored of the aggressives, but specifically I want to talk about its PvE usage in what I call the Ikelos shotgun killer. In my opinion, this is better than the Ikelos shotgun in almost every way. Now, something to note is they are actually bringing back the Ikelos shotgun this season, so it's a new version, a post year 1 version with 4 column. Right now, you can actually get a better Ikelos that will be sunsetting in season 15, so it literally is allowing you to reuse the same weapon in a new form, but the lightweight frame versions with trench barrel are actually going to be doing a lot better DPS. Now, currently, the rapid fire shotguns like Ikelos do better DPS without using the trench barrel aspect of it, without having to melee between 3 shots. However, lightweight frame shotguns actually do more DPS and on top of just doing more total ammo damage. On top of the fact that it again is lightweight, meaning you can run faster, which is very important for PvE, being able to get around to places without having to wait so long. And finally, this one also has auto-loading, a perk that I've actually started to love more and more as the seasons go along. In PvE, having auto-loading on your grenade launcher, on your rocket launcher, on your shotguns, on basically everything is just so convenient. You don't have to reload it, and you can do a lot better DPS switching between weapons constantly. So if you do not have a CQC-12, go and get the auto-loading trench barrel version. It is absolutely worth it. Next up, the Falling Guillotine Legendary Heavy Sword. Now, if you played Destiny 1 during the Taken King days and you ever got yourself a Dark Drinker, this is literally a legendary Dark Drinker in Destiny 2. Now, personally, I was very excited to see the World Lion Zero because I love the Dark Drinker, but being forced to go through that sprint setup just to get that spinny attack, especially with the new heavy system, is just annoying and does not work. And from what I've heard, the Falling Guillotine actually does incredible DPS with this incredible vortex frame. And on top of that, it also has a god tier set of perks, including Relentless and Whirlwind, which is still my favorite combo on any sword. So definitely keep an eye out for this sword and definitely look for yourself a Relentless Whirlwind. Definitely something that you can use to replace all of your future swords up to season 15. Up next, another crazy sword, the Temptation's Hook, is a very interesting one because it's a caster frame. And again, just like in Destiny 1, the Bolt Caster exotic sword, this is a sword with that same ranged attack. Instead of being like Black Talon where it has a projectile that has high aim assistance but drops off, this is just like the Bolt Caster from Destiny 1. So if you like that kind of style, it's definitely something that looks very unique. You can see in this picture, very unique. It's definitely something worth using. I don't think its DPS is going to be as high as something like the Falling Guillotine, but it's definitely something interesting and new, and I'd love to see how it works on bosses. And again, it does have a Relentless Whirlwind combo, or alternatively a Vorpal weapon combo. But I still think Whirlwind will probably get you more damage in the end anyways. Up next, we have the Gnawing Hunger Legendary Energy Auto Rifle. Now, this is a returning weapon, used to be part of the season of the Drifter, Reckoning, and Gambit. You probably could still get a bunch of those to drop there. And the reason why this one is special is because it is another 600 RPM auto rifles, which do really well in the Crucible. And again, it is a season 15 sunset weapon, meaning that it can last for quite a few seasons if you get it now. I would say the only downside to this weapon is going to be these second column rolls. Pretty much every single time you play Crucible, if you have the opportunity to give your primary ammo weapon high caliber or explosive rounds, you need to do that, and this weapon cannot roll with either one of them. However, the rest of the perks, including Tap the Trigger, Zen Moment, Rampage, Demolitionist, Kill Clip, Multi-Kill Clip, Swashbuckler, there's a lot of really great options. And if you compare the Gnawing Hunger with the competitor, the Galliard, which is another energy slot auto rifle, it also has a lot better stats on a lot of different things. However, the Galliard does have high caliber rounds, it has Kill Clip, it has Quick Draw, Under Pressure, Outlaw, a lot of great stuff as well. Unfortunately, it is going to be sunsetting at the end of this season. So Gnawing Hunger, even though it's missing a few pieces here and there, is going to be a good good replacement for PvP auto rifles in the energy slot. Up next, we have another returning weapon from Season of the Undying. That's going to be the Shadowkeep DLC. We have the Optative, a legendary energy hand cannon. Now this is a 100 RPM, meaning the fastest fire rate precision frame hand cannons, and is a great energy 180. First of all, it has that legendary kill clip in its fourth column. It also has rapid hit or outlaw as a good reload and stability perk. However, it does not have the high caliber that you're looking for, which makes it a pretty good hand cannon. Something else I should know is that it is going to be sunsetting this season. So it's not going to be one of those long-term PvP good guns for a long time, because for some reason it's still being held in the season 12, which is unfortunate. It could have definitely been one of those replacement hand cannons that we used for a while. Unfortunately, its newer version, the Ikelos hand cannon replacement, does not have as many good perks. And finally, probably one of my favorite PvE primaries in the game right now, we have the Breachlight, a legendary kinetic sidearm, and it has honestly taken me by storm. We don't get a lot of aggressive burst sidearms, and honestly, we need to be getting more of them because they're really strong. Pretty much the only sidearms I ever use these days are going to be the aggressive 2 burst or the adaptive frame 3 burst. For some reason, none of the other sidearms really do it for me, but these guys really tear it up. And this one's going to be a very big one because it does sunset in Season 13, so you definitely still have some time to use it for quite a while. A lot of people did miss that opportunity to get it in the Season of Dawn, and now you have that opportunity again. Now, what makes this so amazing, outside of it being the really good DPS of the aggressive burst, my personal favorite is going to be the Demolitionist multi-kill clip combo, allowing you to do more damage. The reload's really not that much of a problem, and give you more grenade energy as you get kills. I honestly can get my Hellfire Heart crazy regeneration build to a 4 to 5 second grenade recharge time, which is obviously kind of mind-blowing. And it's all thanks to this weapon, plus a whole bunch of other things in that build. To be honest, I don't really know what else to say about this weapon. It seems simple, but this thing just does a lot of damage. You don't need to be getting headshots to do that damage, and it actually competes with the Recluse in my opinion. I've probably used it over the Recluse in a bunch of different scenarios. This thing is just really good. And that's gonna be pretty much it for the 10 weapons for this video. The 10 weapons I would recommend you keeping an eye out for this season. On top of that, I did want to mention one last weapon that's not a weapon that I would recommend, is going to be the Death Adder, a legendary energy SMG. First of all, this looks just like the Recluse. You can see the model is almost the exact same as the Recluse. On top of the fact that it is also a lightweight frame, 900 RPM, lightweight meaning it does more damage, headshots, and also move faster with it. Personally, I was looking for a replacement Recluse, as the Recluse is going to be sunset Season 12. However, it has failed in many ways, which is the big problem and is the reason why there's going to be sunsetting weapons. First of all, if you look at the potential perks, there is no damage perk. You know, obviously there is a Feeding Frenzy, there's Accurize and Steady Rounds, there's Flared Magwell, lots of good barrel perks, but there's really no damage perks. And if you look at the Recluse, you can get a lot of similar stuff, you know, polygonal rifling, ricochet, Feeding Frenzy, Master of Arms. Here you can actually get polygonal rifling. You can actually replace the ricochet rounds for Accurize rounds or Flare Magwell or Steady rounds if you want to go more that route for different reasons. You can have Feeding Frenzy, but you cannot have a damage perk. And the icing on the cake, look at the stats. If you can see the difference between the Death Adder and the Recluse beats it in almost every single way. And I have yet to this day to find an SMG that has a recoil pattern of 100. 100 meaning that it's perfectly straight up and down, which the Death Adder obviously has a 95. 95 is not bad, but a lot of SMGs have 90 to 95, and they're still a little hard to control, whereas Recluse is perfect recoil. And yet another season goes by, we do not have a replacement for the Recluse, and it will be sunsetting next season. Anyways, that is going to be pretty much the end of the video. Let me know in the comments down below what kind of weapons and armors and stuff you're excited for this season, because just like you, I am a Destiny nerd, and I want to know what's the best of the best so I can go out and get it. But yeah, that's the end of it. Hope you guys did enjoy. My name has been Dychronic, and I will see you guys on the next one.